Welcome to the Popcorn Talk Network, for the online broadcast network that features movie discussion, news, and interviews. Press 1.
Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light.
From the Popcorn Talk Network, the online broadcast network for movie talk, and the schmoes know, this is DC Movie News, bringing you the most up-to-date discussion and commentary within the DC Universe.
Greetings, fans of the DC Universe. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to join us and not following, say, Margot Robbie, who most likely has a periscope of the set of Suicide Squad going right now. Damn, there are a lot of pictures going around about that movie. I'm Adam Gertler.
I'm Roxy Striar.
And joining us in place of Jonny Loquasto is a self-described full-frontal nerd. Am I getting that right? Alexis Torres.
Hey,
Alexis,
everybody.
welcome.
Thank you.
So you can follow us at DC Movies SK. For me, it's at Adam Gertler.
At Roxy Striar.
At A Torres 890.
Okay,
we kept it simple. You
I
and
know.
all.
I just want to be different, guys. Okay.
And with that social media stuff, you know, I think most people that hang out with us and talk to us see that we're pretty back and forth. We're pretty much an open book, and we love to engage with you and talk with you about the show. How you doing, Roxy?
I'm doing well. I'm excited for this week. I'm really bummed that I missed last week where there was so much TV time.
Still don't know that song? Still not going to learn it?
All right, this weekend, it's time for me to teach you.
Maybe.
A couple whiskeys and some TV time.
Man, there are a lot of Suicide Squad photos going on.
Yeah, you know, honestly, at this point, there's just a lot of green hair being thrown around.
I know, and I don't know how I feel about it right now. Like, I'm super excited. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, oh, Jared, you're not the Joker that I was picturing at all.
Are you upset that he just kind of like walks around and flaunts about? I mean, like he's like shopping with the green hair. He's like, I mean,
I'm glad that he's embracing it. I just watching these set photos, I'm just kind of like, oh, what do you have grills in? Like, what the hell is that? I don't know.
When you say that, do you mean you want him to maybe wear a beanie of some sort when he does his everyday activities? Or I just don't know how he could not be
like the
flaunting
Joker in the 1989 Tim Burton when he was in character wearing the beanie. No, well, I mean, yeah, I mean, he's definitely rocking out his green hair. Like, if it were an actor that maybe wanted to have a little separation there, throw a baseball cap on. I mean, not a beanie. And I'm not saying you should or not. I'm just saying, like, a lot of actors I just think would. And I think he's very much like letting his freak flag fly as the Joker. I mean, that's just the choice. This movie seems to have a lot of its viral marketing, and social media is so interconnected with the promotion of the film at this point.
Absolutely. I think probably it was a childhood dream to have green hair, and now he gets to live that, and nobody gets to judge him. It's an excuse. It's easy.
Well, specifically what we're talking about, let's look at some of these photos, shall we? So we got Joker and Harley Quinn having the fight on the set of the Suicide Squad, which is really interesting. You got Harley, or maybe Harleen at this point, with the glasses and the sort of denim outfit. So cute.
Looked like he really slapped her.
I know. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, it's gotta hurt. But I'm also glad that they're actually putting that in the movie. I think it's gonna be so good to see.
This isn't
Jokers.
cute.
No.
This is an abusive relationship.
Which is exactly how it's depicted, and that's how it should be.
I agree with that, but I'm nervous after, what was it, a couple months ago, we talked about the cover of something where it was too violent towards women and whatnot.
Yeah, this does remind you of hashtag change the cover.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see that they're not backing down from the story that they're telling. I mean, what more despicable thing can you imagine than like this sort of like physically abusive, mentally abusive relationship, and the Joker is not a nice guy.
Are they going to receive backlash on it though? Probably. Do I care? Probably not.
Yeah, that's exactly how I
mean,
feel
in today's society, if you don't receive backlash for something, you're doing it wrong, most likely.
I agree with that.
What do you guys think about where this scene takes place in the film? It's just fun to speculate. I have some ideas. What do you guys think?
Oh, you mean, what do we think, where it could possibly take place?
Because clearly they're out and about. She's not dressed as Harley Quinn. Like, do you think this is a flashback? Do you think this is in the current continuity of the film? Is the Joker going to be in jail, or is he out and about? Like, and it also kind of reminds me of the Will Smith photos that we saw, where he was in that like pimp gear. Like it seems like there's like
I liked
flashbacks maybe happening.
I didn't mind it.
I loved it. No.
This whole scene, even though it might not be exactly from it, it's kind of reminding me from. I'm trying to remember the comic. I just bought it for as I was going for Free Comic Book Day. I think it was Bruce Timm's Harley Quinn comic book where she's trying to be all sexy in her like lingerie, and he's just kind of slapping her around kind of thing. But then it does the flashback of when they first met, and she's telling her pets, her hyenas, about how they met and everything. So I thought maybe that's what they're gonna do. Maybe it's not a flashback. Maybe it's just a random cutback to it, before the whole story starts. That's what I was thinking.
I would think it wouldn't necessarily be a flashback. I think that it has to be post being in prison, not pre, and they're out trying to almost blend in. It looked like he's trying to wear his suit. He's trying to be like a citizen of society.
I mean, if I were to speculate, I'm going with that this is the past.
You think so?
I even think, and you can't really get too much of a time period from the outfit, but you can say the Zooty suit thing could be like, him being retro 15 years ago. It doesn't really fit into a time period, but the Lamborghini in this, I don't know. I'm still hopeful, and again, I don't necessarily want to know what happens in the film either, but if I were to speculate, this seems to me like it could be a flashback. I mean, I really don't know, because then why would he just be hitting her in the street?
Based on the car too?
Yeah.
I mean, there is that other picture of her holding the gun to his head, so I'm going to assume if it isn't him escaping if it's not him just being out and about, it might be him escaping from prison, and she's trying to stop him.
The gun to the head was what made me think it was the origin. It was like, you want to shoot me? Shoot me? You want to shoot me? No, you don't want to shoot me. You love me.
Yeah.
You're messed up. And then she goes off and puts on the makeup, and then it's like you said, now it's like that's where she actually fell in love with him.
Huh.
I don't know. It's tough.
All right, and we got more Joker. Our next.
I can't tell what's going on with his teeth. I don't know if they're painted, or that's why I said earlier. I'm like, is that like a grill? Like, what's happening with his teeth right now?
There have been so many comments about his teeth, and then I think he came out and said that his teeth don't really look the way that they look in some pictures. But then we've seen him film, and they do look the way they look in some pictures. Also, how damaged is the damaged?
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of questions. One thing I will say, though, and I don't think that this is getting enough credit, is that he does look creepy.
He does.
He looks creepy as all get out to me. So even if it's not the exact Joker you pictured or whatnot, we've seen many different versions.
Yeah.
This is definitely a different version.
Yeah, and again, if it was the exact Joker you pictured, you might find yourself in a position where people were paying you to make movies. I mean, that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand, is like, what you imagine isn't not necessarily... maybe you want to be surprised by people who make a ton of money doing this, breaking new stories, finding new ways to present this to us. Exactly. I mean, I was just telling someone before, it takes so much energy to be negative looking forward to something. Like, why not be cautiously optimistic? And then you'll have for the rest of eternity to be disappointed about the thing once it's there.
Well, according to everybody in the chat roll, which it's really awesome that you guys are all here, everyone's saying grill. It's all grill. It's a grill. It's a grill. And
well,
I'm
because
like, okay, cool.
so now if it's a grill, forgive my ignorance, does that mean it's on top of teeth, or could he have his face busted up by, like, say, Batman or someone like that, and he just put that in there?
I mean, it can go either way. Some people do put that over their teeth, and some people actually have them replacing as teeth. So it really can depend.
Maybe he likes it because he likes to use it to bite mothers' faces off. You know what I mean? Like, maybe he gets really nasty and he gets on someone and those metal teeth and he's biting them.
I just thought he liked it because it's shiny, because it's Joker.
Yeah, I think this would be like a Nelly Band-Aid type thing, where originally Band-Aids were used to cover cuts and make you protected, and then sometimes some rapper comes out and puts a Band-Aid on his face and people think it's cool. So we don't know whether he has grills because he needed them, or grills
I think there was a story, not to go too far, but I think there was a story for Nelly's Band-Aid. I think it was like supposed to represent someone. I don't know who it was. I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong. But
maybe the grills represent something then.
I don't know.
No. We haven't. We're getting a lot of comments and we're not talking about Nelly enough on the DC Movie News show. So I'm glad you brought it up.
Hey, we talk about rappers all the time, though. We talk about Common, so.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go.
And, normally you're filling in the slot that Johnny would be putting wrestlers in there, so.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
So you can just kind of fill there.
Swerve. This actually kind of looks like Eminem.
Well,
a little bit.
Listen,
can you imagine?
we will find out the answer to the questions regarding the Joker's grill, the time period, and many, many more, and his damage tattoo when this movie gets here next August, right? It's next August?
Oh, wow, is it?
Yeah,
it's coming
crazy.
up.
It's crazy.
Coming up.
Once this thing starts rolling, it's going to be great. Phil Lord gives us a little update about this Flash movie. basically saying like, yeah, we know Flash is a really, really popular TV show right now. I think the Flash finale beat Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the ratings. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ratings were going down, Flash ratings going up. It really is great. I think the show honestly got better and better as it went along. It constantly surprised me. I know you love the show.
I'm completely obsessed with it. I thought that the finale was the best episode to date, even, or the second to last episode. Really, really good.
I agree. I completely agree with you.
I just think it's amazing. The Arrow finale, I wasn't thrilled with.
Right there.
Just saying.
Why? Because you don't believe that Stephen Amell is not going to ever be the Arrow again? Spoilers.
Spoilers.
I don't because as far as spoilers go, I'm not into the riding off into the sunset I'm happy moment. Also, I'm not into what they've done with Felicity's character this season.
Look, pretty much. Not to go off on a tangent because we're here to talk about. We're going to talk about the Flash movie, but I will say this: we're not on TV time yet. We're not there yet.
Sorry.
I think I just want to say, because I'll forget this later, is like, obviously everybody knows how much they pretty much bit off the plot of Batman Begins for the entire season of Arrow. So they had to steal that little scene from the end of Dark Knight Rises when Bruce Wayne is off and beat. I mean, like, they stole it beat for beat. Like,
pretty much.
Let's call a spade a spade a spade. Yeah. But whatever, it's fine. They're saying Barry Allen. They're saying different tone. What do you think about Lord and Miller's comments, or Phil Lord's comments? They're funny guys, so we expect a funny film.
Also, their comments about this being more of a standalone. It was kind of confusing. Obviously, this is linked to the rest of the universe, so calling it almost a standalone was weird to me. Their whole point is they don't want to do what the TV show is. I think that Phil Lord's quote was, "We're trying to break a story." So whatever's going on in the Flash, the TV show, they don't want to do that. The problem is the TV show is great. So if they try to gear too far away, when
you think it might ruin it?
Right. He also announced that they were probably using Barry Allen. So if you're going to do a Barry Allen story and it's going to be a completely different story, it could be great, but don't make it great on purpose for not being what it is great doing already, if that makes any sense.
No, I totally understand that.
I think there's a lot of ways to tell a funny Flash story, or a Flash story that has humor in it without aping the tone of the Flash show, which, as some people have pointed out, is really more akin to the Marvel films. Like, the Flash tone is that perfect blend of self-awareness and self-referential, with the Cisco character and things like that, but it still allows the stakes to have weight of the comic book action. I'm wondering if they're saying, like, this is going to kind of stand alone, like, tonally. Like, this is going to be kind of a funnier film. More like an Ant-Man-y kind of thing.
That's what I think that they probably mean, because we know that it is part of the universe.
Absolutely.
So there will, in some way, be a crossover of some sort, and we're going to have people who come in and appear. It's just the way that this works. But I do think it will have its own tone, like you're saying. Yeah. Which I appreciate.
Yeah, and I honestly can't wait. I can't wait to see, like, $150 million movie budget Flash effects. Like, we've still never seen that.
We've
never seen the Flash on the big screen. People forget. We've got Green Lantern. We only have really had Batman, Superman, and Green Lantern.
Though? Like, do we really?
Ish. You know what? I mean, look, part of it counts. Green Lantern, like, what was the beginning part with, like, Abin Sur, like, that was, like, really awesome.
Yeah, okay,
like, that one sequence with the ring transitioning and the way that dude looked.
There were moments.
I wanted to see that movie, and then it went off the rails.
As far as the Flash goes, we haven't talked about it in a little bit, but yes, I love Grant Gustin on the TV show. Of course, everybody knows that. But Ezra Miller is such an incredibly talented actor that I've forgotten how excited I am to see him in this film and what he can do with this character.
I feel like the film is going to be a little bit more grounded than the TV show. The TV show gives up the conceit that, like, there's just superpowered people backing off, popping out everywhere, kind of like Smallville did. It just does it much better than Smallville, in my opinion. So I would think that the Flash film is going to be more grounded. It's going to be a lot of wonder about the fact that he's got these powers, these fast powers, and exploring the humor of all that.
And that's what I want out of this movie, is that we get to, I mean, with TV we can kind of stick to, like, a very strict kind of line, but with the movie we can kind of explore more of it. And that's what I'm mostly looking forward to, is just really kind of, not to pun it, but, like, break boundaries and things like that.
Yeah, very excited to see how this develops. We still don't know if they're actually directing it or not. These guys are working on lots of stuff. And we're finally also getting some news about Lex Luthor. To go back to Suicide Squad for a moment, there are... some rumors going around now that the Luthor will actually be the primary villain in Batman v Superman.
Right, because Doomsday was announced, but then also speculated. But
Here's the thing: if Doomsday is actually in it, I can't imagine Doomsday being like the main threat in this movie. Like, again, I have no idea what the movie is. I couldn't, because it just seems like it would be such another thing. Yeah. How would you give Doomsday his due weight in a film that already has this much going on? And it's like, I feel like this idea of possibly being introduced to the concept of Doomsday, some weird, Zod clone, or something that maybe eyes are opening, or like we're seeing it developing toward the end of the film. I kind of hope that it would wait until a Justice League or something like that.
I agree with that completely.
Okay, that makes more sense. I totally get that now. I didn't think, because I kind of wanted him to be like the main villain. No, I totally didn't think future ahead of time.
Yeah,
there.
well,
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot going on, and I think that he's a great villain. I love the Doomsday fight in the original, comics run. It's so epic, like
glorious.
splash page, splash page, splash page.
Right. I was just thinking that nobody was saying he was going to be the main villain in this. Everybody's saying that he will be make an appearance of some sort, but he won't be. Lex is supposed to be the main villain in this, which is what's confusing to me.
So now there's talk about Lex actually appearing in his power suit,
right?
Which many of you will remember from the 1984 Superpowers action figures, when you squeeze his legs together and Lex Luthor does this, and he's got the green and purple outfit on. He's actually rocked that in the comics for a few decades since then as well.
This is what Zack Snyder's quote about him was. He's not any of the Lexes that you've seen, that's for sure, other than him being a captain of industry and one person to the world and another person to himself, and bald, of course. Our Lex is disarming, and he's not fake. He says what he believes, and he says what's on his mind. If you can unravel the string and decipher what that means, it's all there. So,
Very interesting. I'm very, very excited.
I would like to unravel.
Here's my prediction, my BVS prediction of the week. You tell me how you guys think, in the comments and everything. Let us know how you play that this plays out. Obviously, Batman and Superman fight. And then the bigger threat, then somehow they come to terms with everything. You're okay, I'm okay, let's hug it out. But Lex Luthor is not taking that. And then he's taken this power suit technology to the next level, perhaps stumbled upon some of that Kryptonian atmosphere, we'll call it kryptonite, that is now wounding him. And so the Lex Luthor parasuit totally gets the advantage over Kal-El, about to beat the Kryptonian off his chest. And then what happens? Batman shows up, short circuits that thing, beats the piss out of Lex Luthor.
Oh, that's better than beating the Kryptonian off somebody.
Yeah. And no, you don't beat off a Kryptonian. And that's what I think. So I think it goes down. And I think, ultimately there's the ultimate fight with Luthor and the power suit. I know it's a lot of power suit stuff, and then maybe that we see like Doomsday, like eyes light up,
at
active.
the end.
And I do like the idea of like messing with the corpse of Zod and making that into Doomsday somehow. Like, that's cool.
That would be so gross, but awesome at the same time. But you literally, sorry to interrupt you, but like that's literally like you need to stay out of my brain, because that's exactly how I pictured the movie going to play out. And I told everybody this is how I want it, and they're like, oh, I guess that'd be cool. I'm like, you guess? Like,
you guess?
You can suck it, because it's awesome.
Well, here's the thing, as Adam said earlier, the way that you see things, if you were the one doing the movies, they'd be paying you guys to do it. So I don't know.
Exactly.
I've been saying that for years.
I hope I have a new theory every single week, and I hope I see the movie and it's nothing I imagine.
That's kind of what I'm hoping too, but at the same time, I would really like to see, like, if you and I went to go watch the movie and it actually played out like that, we would just be going nuts.
Yeah, no, it'd be pretty amazing. What's next? What are we going to talk about? You want to talk about Matthew McConaughey?
I guess I want to talk about him.
Who doesn't always want to talk about Matthew McConaughey?
All right.
I want to take my shirt off.
That was the most overused statement I could have just made.
I mean,
there's not that much to say about him, except for the fact that he came out and said that if the right role was presented to him from either Marvel or DC, he might possibly take it.
That's very big, and I'll tell you why that's very big, because here you have this, Academy Award level actor here. Okay, genius guy, just won an Academy Award for Best Actor.
Right,
he did.
And
gave the worst speech of all time.
Right, and he's not saying, that's not my game, I don't want to play that. He's saying, yeah, absolutely. The money's good, the deal's good, it's going to be fun if it's at the terms. Him basically putting it out there is saying, like, if he wants to do one, he's going to do one.
Right.
Who wouldn't want him to do one? Marvel or DC? Like, who wouldn't want McConaughey?
what part do you want to play? Like, What superhero
Well, the obvious
villain?
question. Okay, I'll tell you the rumor today. As far as I came in here on a Latino review, I saw that there was rumor for him to be the new Norman Osborn,
Right.
which is a no-brainer.
Is it weird that I want him to play the Question?
No, not at all.
I think he would be good.
That's very interesting. So you definitely want to see him in DC as opposed to Marvel. Obviously, well, we're here to talk about DC. I want to see him
since
in
we're
DC.
here, I can't put his face on anybody in Marvel just yet. But
This
for
is-
me, even though there is no face on the Question, I just thought his voice would be really cool. You know
Osborn's
what I mean?
a layup, right? I mean, like, sure. Like, look, great actors have played Norman Osborn before.
Yeah.
But could he drive a Lincoln?
God, he's gonna drive a Lincoln. What do you guys think? What do you want to see McConaughey play? Well, in DC Universe, here's what I was thinking. This is an out there one. Obviously, he'd make a really good Green Lantern. I mean, a Hal Jordan. That's also a no-brainer. Smiling, charming. You'd be
I
like.
kind of want to stay away from that, but I
But
see you.
it
Yeah.
just seems like obvious. I'm looking at the slate and what major characters that you have to go obvious first. We
I'm
know
gonna
who
tell
the
you what the
Flash
chat
is.
thinks.
What does
I'm
the
gonna-
chat think?
Okay, they're all over the place. So Alex thinks that Plastic Man, W.
Genius.
Dillett thinks
Plastic Man.
that he fits vigilante.
Sure.
They're all, oh my gosh, so many. Nisei 5 something thinks Martian Manhunter.
Totally
I
Martian
can
Manhunter.
totally see that. That would be awesome.
Mr. Johnny thinks Shazam. Is that our Johnny? No.
No, I don't think so.
Hey, you
John
know what?
Smith, Animal Man. We've got
Shazam
a
could be
lot.
cool. You go with like a totally lean Shazam
I
instead.
don't like that. I love my big.
Yeah,
my
and
big
old though.
guy.
And I gotta say old. For
Joe
playing
John
Shazam.
says Green Arrow.
Sure.
Sure, yeah, if you want.
Yeah, we got a lot. And,
What about-
and goddamn agrees with you and says question.
I want
Yeah.
I want
it'd be
I want
cool.
you guys in the chat room to smack me in the face when I throw this out. I didn't get a picture in time, but the new 52 version of Lobo. Huh? Who's with me, guys? Look it up right now. Look, new 52 Lobo, and he's lean. He looks exactly like Matthew McConaughey. Like, I swear to God. It almost looks like they Nick Fury'd him because they're like, someday we want Matthew McConaughey to be Lobo.
I don't know how anybody could not be with you when they see that face and how excited you get about it.
Somebody said Brainiac.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but I don't know how they're going to do Brainiac. 'Cause
Scott says
how do you-
Dark Side.
How do you do
Yeah.
Brainiac and make it nothing like Ultron in Age of Ultron? Like,
That's true.
you,
I
and
didn't
you
think
really
about
got
that.
to do that too. You know, it's
Yeah.
weird. Is he could he's.
It's tough.
That's a very typical character to see on.
But we got to see Brainiac. That'll be really
That would
interesting.
be so freaking cool.
So, okay, the reconnaissance. Here's one we were talking about. Oh, speaking of the Lobo film, this was actually to tie it into the Lobo thing. There was that article where there were the director of San Andreas, who was supposed to be directing the Lobo film with The Rock, was basically saying it was too hard to get the film that they wanted to make made because there was no established DC universe. So it was going to be one of those... like the Poor Huron statement, the compromise second draft, kind of thing. And I think they basically said Lobo was not for then, he is for now. He is for the future.
Right.
So
Just speaking more on Lobo and why people were frustrated that it wasn't announced in the slate originally back then, the person who was slated to direct it, Brad Payton, came out and said, I think what's happening with DC is that they've prioritized what they need to make first in order to kind of lay a foundation
Yeah.
for the DC universe.
I think that's a smart way to go.
For lack of better words, duh. Like, yes, I'm not saying duh to him, but to the people that are like, why wasn't we need a universe before we can.
unfortunately, the first rule of business, and I'm not a businessman, but I heard is it's this thing called supply and demand, right?
Heard of
when
it.
when the supply is high and the demand is high, everybody's happy. When the supply is high and the demand is low, it's not very good. So right now we have a lot of supply of DC films. We have many films that we know are coming. We don't really know what the demand is going to be yet.
That's true.
Really don't. We're assuming that the audience is there, but we don't know. We're planning 10 years without really knowing. And the only way that demand is going to be there is if people go crazy over this product. If they start delivering really, really good product.
Right, you're not going to get the demand off the bat for Lobo as you would for Wonder Woman, right?
Right, like
Just
Guardians of the Galaxy, for example. It's like just putting that Marvel moniker up front. People are like, "Pow! Everything Marvel makes is a good time, at least worth the price of admission."
Right.
I mean, you gotta say that, right? About just about every Marvel Studios movie is at least worth the money you paid for the ticket.
I agree.
would say.
agree.
So yeah, once there is a demand, Lobo will come out. And I don't really know the new 52 Lobo, to be honest. I just know what he looks
neither
like.
do I.
I know the design, and it's a totally different design. Like he's way slimmer.
Way
I love that.
slimmer.
I didn't know how you're going to phrase that. It was good.
There was an interesting article about a movie pilot about why DC will eventually take over Marvel, and what this, was basically, purporting was that, like, as the DC film slate gets into full gear, Marvel, as they get into phase 3 and everything, they were going to start losing potentially their big stars.
Right.
So that was really the crux of the article.
Right, it absolutely was. I'm not even saying I necessarily agree with all parts of the article, but I do think DC has a great slate ahead for movies and for television. And they said that the biggest problems going up against Marvel is that Chris Evans no longer wants to play Captain America, which may or may not be true. Robert Downey Jr. is too old to play Iron Man after Infinity Wars, which may or may not be true. And that Mark Ruffalo is going to be too old as well, which, again, may or may not be true.
No, I mean... It's not really true. Hulk, just in that one case, Hulk can be in his 60s. Who cares?
That's why I said may or may not be true.
Yeah.
I don't happen to agree with all of this, but this was one person's opinion. It was an interesting article from Movie Pilot, so check it out.
Here's the problem I have with this idea is that, like, I think that if it's true that Evans is not making more Captain Americas for a while or ever, and Downey Jr., like, I think the one thing that Marvel does so well is their new phases really don't revolve around those characters.
Right.
And I think that if you were to just give a 5, 6, 7, like, eventually people are going to get tired of that. The way to stay ahead and keep that demand high is by changing the game and giving the audience what they want before they even know they want it. You don't want maybe Iron Man 5, 6, and 7. Maybe you want, like, Inhumans and Captain Marvel and these flavors that we haven't even given you yet. That's how they're going to stay ahead of the game. And DC is basically going to be in its first wave through 2020.
Right.
Yeah.
My whole theory on all of this is the entire time has just been, why can't both just excel? Why can't Marvel and DC both just excel?
Yeah.
I am really excited for the next 10 years for both entities. Like, wow, I think they can do great. All of them at the same time.
I don't know. It's just, I guess it's one of those, like, healthy competition kind of things. But I completely agree. I want to see both succeed, especially since Marvel did kind of have a head start. I would like to see DC get more love at one point.
Yeah, I always want to go see a better movie. Who doesn't want to see a better movie?
That's true. I just look at the platform so differently. I don't look at it whether I want the Celtics or the Lakers to win. I look at it about the Celtics and the Patriots. Like, I can want both of them. I can root for both of them at the same time. So it's different sports.
So those are two different sports.
Yeah, they're different sports for me.
Okay.
Marvel and DC.
I can see that.
Sports.
Like, they're in, like, their own league. They're in their own league and they're doing their own stuff, but you want them both to excel in what they do.
They're both comics,
I would
of course,
say,
but they're just, to me, they both can kick butt.
Yeah.
I would say they're both football. Maybe one's arena football.
Okay. Closer to what I would...
Maybe?
Yeah, totally.
I understood what you meant, though.
Yeah.
I would say maybe one is like the Giants and one is that arena football team owned by Kiss. What are they called? The Kiss?
Oh, I have no idea.
There's a Kiss. There is true. Gene Simmons has an arena football league. Yeah.
No, I know what you're talking about. I just don't know for the life of me what the name of the team is.
I'm going to look it up.
You should.
No, I'm kidding. I don't even watch football or arena football, really.
I thought they do.
So Arrow's Stephen Amell talks about DC shows crossing over.
Yeah,
I know this is
Los Angeles Kiss.
Are you ready?
The Los Angeles Kiss. There you go. Yeah, talk to me. So this, I guess, would be TV time.
TV time.
Yeah, TV time. No, when Johnny's not here, it doesn't work as well because we're running around.
No, this is great.
TV time.
Everybody listening is fascinated right now. Keep going. This is getting better.
You gotta chime in. You gotta TV time. TV.
It's about to peak. I can tell.
I feel so bad. I'm sorry, Johnny.
No, it's awesome, Johnny.
Johnny, I miss you.
So, Stephen Amell talks about DC shows crossing over.
Oh, my word.
That was good.
Thank you.
I mean,
it sounded like my aunt. I was like, what's happening?
It couldn't have been your Stephen Amell impression, though.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking Supergirl here? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Well, just with obviously Supergirl's trailer and then Legends of Tomorrow and all this, we've already seen Flash and Arrow crossovers.
Yeah.
My biggest, these poor actors are going to be so swamped.
Yeah.
It's not like they're
not
filming. Yeah, that's not true.
nowhere
That's not true.
close.
I also don't feel bad for them at all because I just don't. But the amount of hours that they are working just on their own show, and then they also are going to be making appearances on Legends and on Flash and Arrow. It still, to me, seems as if Supergirl is going to be in the same universe, but will never cross over.
Yeah, which I know you talked about a lot last week, and I was sitting there in the booth at that time going, I don't understand what's going on with this TV show, because at the same time, I did hear the same thing where it's like, oh, it's in the same universe, and I'm like, but if Superman is involved, doesn't people know who what?
It's a big deal, right?
It was to me. That's why I was sitting in the booth like,
the existence of Superman, this is what I was saying, like, the existence of Superman is not something that you could just casually slide in season 4 of Arrow.
Right.
Because he's never been referenced before. Like, you either have to deal with the arrival of Superman, which is like, it's just weird to me. So, and yet it would have been weird if they introduced a Supergirl in which there was no Superman.
Yeah. Which it'd be equally as weird, which is why the concept of this show at its origin is a little flawed.
I mean, I'm happy that they're finally making a TV show. Well, I mean, not a TV show that has a strong female lead per se, but it's just nice to finally have a female superhero have its TV show.
I agree with that.
That's awesome. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't like how you're constructing it, especially with the whole like, oh, she's an assistant for some.
This is one of those where I really, really am going to try to keep as quiet as I can about it until it comes out.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know, and I don't want to go extreme one way or the other because I just don't know.
I was pretty positive about it, and then over the week I heard like more and more vitriol. Like people were really hating on it.
Like I stayed away from all the hate.
I mean, again, yeah. I mean, maybe it'll be terrible. I don't know, but I mean, I thought it looked good. I mean, I thought it looked interesting and funny, and it had like a really good kind of comic booky tone. I don't know how it's going to be at CBS. It's a different world.
Yeah, but aren't they the sister network kind of like CW of some sort?
CBS owns
but that's
CW.
not even what I mean. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, they could cross over, but I mean, just like a CBS show has its own sort of flavor about it.
True.
Like, you know, isn't Big Bang Theory a CBS show?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's like the most popular show in the world.
I don't have extreme doubts that it's gonna do terrible. I feel like people will watch it. I'm just scared with writing wise. I'm a little off with it. But I think my favorite thing from the giant first look trailer was her costume progression. I really liked how she was kind of
That was awesome.
That like she was testing it out. I thought that was really cool as someone who is a new superhero is trying to test it out, especially with her age and everything.
I think the effects are going to be great too.
Yeah.
I think the flying and everything is going to look really cool.
It looked awesome.
On top of talking about the crossovers between these two TV shows and on Supergirl and all that, Stephen also started talking about the crossover, or potential crossover between the movie universe and the TV universe.
See, I feel like that might be too much. I mean, I'm happy because they're doing that, but with the whole like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and like and the Marvel movies, but at the same time,
that's more seamless.
Well, yeah.
This they're casting the same roles with different actors, so it's going to be more challenging.
Well, what DC always has to fall back on is to say this is the multiverse. There are different Earths, which I think is fine in existence. You don't have to. It's just there. It doesn't mean that you have to say, oh, well, they could cross over. Sure, they could, but it doesn't mean that they have to anytime soon. And I don't necessarily think that they should. I've talked a lot about that on this show before. We know that,
right?
But I'm okay with the shows existing in their own pocket universes. I am a little concerned about overcrowding of all the DC TV shows everywhere, and if that could potentially have a negative effect on the films, on those big monster opening weekends.
Oh, okay.
Because the core base will always be there, but I see like is the reason why these movies started to blow up so much is because all these other people started to see the films. Mm-hmm. I'm worried that this overexposure could eventually, you're going to lose that extra group of people, and like it might start to crumble a little bit.
I understand what you're saying totally, but I actually think that the example that I'll give is the TV show for The Flash is creating such a fan base for the character of The Flash that movie is going to do even better on opening weekend.
I completely agree.
They've created an audience that wasn't necessarily there, which was the CW audience. Mm-hmm. I don't know if everybody watching on CW would have necessarily gone to see The Flash if they weren't big Flash fans now.
Yeah. I mean, you know, what I would say to that is, you know, then you also risk, you know, disappointing people when like they go see the Flash movie and it has nothing to do whatsoever with that Flash TV show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, I totally agree with that, but I also like the fact that if it does introduce a whole different type of, not world, but, you know, story, that it will maybe, you know, broaden people's horizons to a bit, maybe.
But don't you think that if you have like, you know, Joe and Jane, average so-and-so, that go see these films, don't really care. They turn on one channel and it's Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and it's Arrow, and then flip over here and it's Gotham, and at the same time I flip over here and it's Supergirl, and then I'm like, all right, I'm going to go check out the weird channels. I'm like, well, TNT, all right, I like basketball, and it's like, oh, these Teen Titans are over there, and it's like, I cannot literally escape, and it's Heroes Reborn, and it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's Peggy Carter, and it's like, it's such an influx. At some point, is the public going to be like, enough superhero stuff?
They haven't with vampires.
Yeah.
They haven't with...
Sure they have.
I
think the
so.
vampire thing has toned way down.
Well, as of recent, sure. But...
And the last couple of vampire films have tanked. Dracula Untold tanked. Vampire Academy, whatever.
No,
tanked.
that movie was really awful.
Yeah.
They were both awful. So what I'm saying is, I would say that vampires is like this right now. There's not like a swelling encouragement, enthusiasm for vampires like there was 7 years ago.
I just feel like superheroes have just standed the test of time. So even, yes, we are kind of bombarded with all of this superhero stuff. I think at least for right now, I feel like everybody wants it. And then maybe eventually...
I think the bubble is filling, and I think it will pop.
Yeah, and I think at that point you'll see where I think it will still be filled with the true diehard fans, and then maybe the general public will be like, okay.
Right, which means all I'm saying is that the overall, people, one of the questions that we had the Twitter, like, that we were going to get to is like, how much money does Batman v Superman have to make to be a success? At some point, I think the box office numbers aren't just going to keep growing and growing. Like, I think that there might be some tapering effect that eventually happens if that superhero fatigue or whatever does take. So with the general public, again, not talking about the core fan base here.
Since we are in TV time, I did want to take this question because it is relevant from Mr. Johnny in the chat. Why is DC splitting their franchises? Shouldn't Supergirl be on CW? Do you think that would help if there was just a superhero channel and then you weren't flipping through and it was everywhere? It's like if you go to this channel, you knew that you were going to get a bunch of superhero shows.
I would say that I think that Supergirl is going to be an expensive show. I think that CBS has much bigger budget than CW, and I think that if it is true that it is like a sister network, then I think CBS probably wants a little bit of that DC flavors too that are doing so well, like a little bit of that taste.
Right. And you never know, maybe CBS at one point might move it to CW, and then maybe they'll see how it does, if let's say it doesn't do well there.
Well, that would be a step backwards. I mean that would be a sign of failure. Yeah.
I mean, it could be, but I mean, at the same time, I kind of agree with what Mr. Johnny says, where I think it should all be on one channel, because I feel like it is kind of too much to sit there and be like, oh, what channel is Supergirl on and what channel is Aquaman on and things like that, when I would rather be like, oh, CW, the superhero channel.
Interesting.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I don't know either, but it's an interesting point.
But to talk about,
I just think they would make more money that way.
Money.
I don't know if they would though, because I guess the idea is to have the most amount of viewers at like all the times possible. So you want to bring in somewhat of a different dynamic, a different demographic. But CW shows do play like CW shows.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean,
just so you know, everybody wants you to know that CW isn't a failure. CW is up and coming.
CW is up and coming.
Wait, did he say it was a failure?
No, I said that if you were
to step back, it would be.
If you were to put a show on CBS, I was saying, and they moved it to CW, it wouldn't be because it was such a big success that they had to move it to CW.
There
that
are
was my
plenty
point.
of shows that do better on CW than on CBS, though. That's true.
Overall numbers wise?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will see. This is something else that they're trying.
Stop disrespecting CW. Thanks. Listen to this. I cover Vampire Diaries. I cover all the DC shows. I bow down to CW.
Most of my after shows are all CW shows. 100.
I do not bow down to CW. I think CW does a lot of things that take me out of the reality. That's just me. You don't have to feel that way. I will say that I think The Flash is amazing. The Flash is an amazing show.
We'll take it.
Let's talk about that Jay Garrick helmet that we saw on the season finale.
Oh my God, I squealed.
Spoilers, whatever. That was also in a trailer.
I squealed my little
That little helmet
heart out.
flies out there. What are you thinking? What do you think this could mean?
That it's time for me to get out of here. That's what he said.
Awesome.
What
does that mean?
I'm ready.
Cool.
I'm ready for Earth 2 or Earth 1 storyline to be involved. That's what I'm waiting for.
So just a total parallel universe.
I'm so down, especially with him.
So Grant Gustin One with the Speed Force. Zoop, zoop, zoop. I'm in alternate reality right now. Who's this guy, Jay Garrick, being the Flash like 30 years ago or something?
I think that it's a complete Easter egg because we already announced that we probably are seeing Wally West next season. I don't think that we're going to end up seeing Jay. I just think it was showing this is what's in our universe. This was our first.
Wally's my favorite
and I'm
Flash.
totally fine with that.
But I will say this. The groundswell and the hype that may be caused by all of us could lead to it. Actually, they're really right. We are going to play. So, but I think it would be cool. Maybe not next season, but the season after.
Right.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be right away. Yeah.
We don't need to have 3 Flashes at the same time.
Sizzler Kistler, on his way out from the Marvel show, I asked him what he thought it meant, and he was telling me. He said, maybe Jay Garrick was operating as the Flash back in the day, like around the time Mark Hamill's Trickster was being the Trickster, and he was just more clandestine about it.
Oh.
This idea that we existed, we were the whole time. We just used to not put ourselves on the newspaper, and I was like, I'm the Flash, dude. I don't have to be seen, maybe.
Yeah.
We were more careful about it.
It's interesting, and I definitely think that they were showing us we know what we're doing, and I didn't know how many people would pick up on it, but everybody knew.
There's so many Easter eggs.
No spoilers, but what about the actual ending where he just he takes off and he's not even
spoilers. So yeah,
I'm like, no, these are spoilers.
These are spoilers, but whatever. You're spoiled. You're spoiled rotten.
Yeah.
That you've had the opportunity to see this and you haven't seen it. You're spoiled. So I'm gonna spoil you. When he takes off, he's not even running on the ground anymore. Like that ending was such a. It was cool in that it was not a cliffhanger. It wasn't like, oh, where are they going? It was like you're excited to see what's coming next. They just busted open the world of possibilities. Man, they nailed it.
I can't talk about how much I loved that finale.
But try.
Here's the thing.
There's no words for me. Right. I was just tears and
Who gave that to you?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you have to talk about that.
This is from Jeff Johns.
What?
This is from Jeff Johns. So David Rappaport, the casting director of Supergirl, of Legends, of Arrow, of Flash. He also did Gossip Girl and 90210 and a million other things. He came in for the season finale of The Flash to cover it on AfterBuzz with us. And before he left to come see us, he was on set and he turned to Jeff Johns and was like, ooh, I'm going to see these people and I want to bring them some stuff. So he gave me this t-shirt that I'm wearing. And he gave me this from Jeff. He also said he'd set up a tour of DC if you guys want to come.
Yes.
He's so
you had
sinewy.
me at tour and what?
I know. And then we
Really?
can go see Supergirl being
Does that
filmed on
include
set.
all of us?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see the strings I can
I
pull.
want to go.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
will fight
Yeah. So
everybody.
it's awesome, but this is a cool little. It's kind of heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took it out of the box. He said, I thought it was going to be bigger than that. I was like, it's big enough. Trust me. It looks great.
The size of that is fine.
So anyway, though, I thought The Flash did the most incredible job. I can't believe that was a season 1 finale.
Oh,
And
so
listen,
good though.
some people on some of the shows last week, I'm always a big proponent of saying all these shows should be 12 episodes. None of them should be 23. And some people were like, yeah, totally agree. Like Daredevil, like this. And other people were like, no, I want more shows because it's more fun. I like to see develop. Look, The Flash did a great job with the 23 episode season, but that's season 1. It gets harder, okay? And it gets harder and harder to make more compelling stories. And look what kind of happens with shows like Arrow that can look, I like it, but man, did it go off the rails in a lot of different places. You 12 episode this mother, I'm telling you.
I just feel like it's set up for so much to happen, especially since there's so many things in the Flash universe. So I like that they did that, even though, yes, it was a season 1 finale, but I liked the writing, the pacing, everything about that episode was just... Wow, it was amazing.
I love all the references to how the costume evolves. Even when we saw, again, spoilers, whatever, no spoilers, Flash from the Future that really digitized, some great effects on the show.
So
Rod, some of the best effects I've seen on TV.
What's going on with Killer Frost and Vibe and all that.
Vibe, right now he's got his Vibe.
So people are making fun of me in the chat for name dropping now, but you made me do it.
What?
You made me name drop a little.
Drop
You're
name.
allowed to name drop? What?
Yo, I'll drop this name right now, Maury Povich. All right? And I'm going to keep you wondering what that means. I'm not even going to tell you. So let Roxy drop names.
Okay,
Maury Povich. First
it.
look at Preacher.
They're liking the 12 episodes. Someone
just asked out Roxy. You want to go to Red Lobster?
I really like Red Lobster, actually. They have good clam chowder.
I have never been.
It's good.
I would hold out for at least a McCormick and Schmick's invitation.
Oh, okay.
If you're going to ask Roxy out for seafood, at least respect her enough on a McCormick and Schmick's level. Okay.
I'm gonna hold somebody to that.
You're better than Red Lobster.
Thank you. Thank you.
The TV show I'm most excited about for right now, I've said, is probably going to be 12 or 13 episode, and that is the Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg directed Preacher.
Go ahead, preach about it.
So there's an image. We got Jesse Custer and Arseface, Dominic Cooper playing the role of Jesse Custer. Oh.
So I think that Seth Rogen actually Instagram or tweeted this out.
Comments, guys. I want to know who's really read Preacher. Who's read Preacher? Who hasn't? I read every single one. It is a page turner.
Do you read all Vertigo?
No. I am the most mainstream, lamest person when it comes to comic taste.
Yes, that's what I think
but
about
it was
you.
just
so mainstream and lame.
But Preacher was one of those things. It was like, you just pour through it. And again, beginning, middle, and end. It's a great story. I'm so excited to see what Rogen brings to this. This gets me very excited. Ladies, are you excited for this?
I'm really excited, especially after you gave all, because I still haven't seen it, I have to say, with Daredevil, and I know that that's your favorite right now, and you want Preacher to do for DC what Daredevil has for Marvel, and I'm hoping it does that just for you.
I mean, just by nature of the fact that it's Vertigo, it's always going to be a little bit more mature. That's what Vertigo is.
AMC, which is also going to be more mature.
Oh, yeah. That's why I think that was a really good network to be on in the first place. So, yes, I think that if it does go the same route, I'm literally on the last 2 episodes of Daredevil, that if it does go that route, it's going to be a high time, awesome TV show. Sorry, I can't. Right. I don't have words because I'm so excited.
Yes.
They know what to do too, with like Walking Dead and whatnot. So I believe.
Yeah, not every show is great on AMC, but they do a lot of great shows. Like I said, like AMC, FX, those are the really cool cable channels where you can get mature content that's not quite as R-rated as a Showtime, HBO, Cinemax kind of thing, but they can be very adult.
They teeter right on.
And they don't do 23 episode shows. And why do you think that is? What do you think that is? You think they're idiots over there? That's why they do it? Because they're morons? I don't think that's why.
Really? Was that you getting up in arms about something?
I was
Not
like,
really.
whoa.
I know Walking Dead is 16, but like they break it up 8 and 8, beautiful. And their season finale is very sexy. We'll see what happens with that extra Walking Dead show.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Isn't it called something
Can we talk
Walking
about
Dead?
that? I know it's not. It's not. Who puts out Walking Dead? Is that Image?
It's called something Walking Dead. What's the next one called?
Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah, Fear the Walking Dead.
So,
the worst title for a show that you could possibly have. I don't understand.
I don't know.
Oh my god.
I'm not going to think about the title. I'm just hoping the content's
I
good.
like the idea that it takes place in the early days of the zombie apocalypse. I think that's cool.
what I wanted.
No creativity with that title.
Fear the Walking
Dead.
Really?
She's on fire.
Yeah.
Roxy's on fire.
That just pissed me off.
Yeah.
Be more creative than that. I love
of,
Walking Dead. I love that show.
Yeah, I'm just putting it behind me. I'm just like, I need to see this content. I want it to be really good. And I was thinking the whole time, even watching Walking Dead and also reading it, that I want more of just the beginning. Like, that's why I like the game so much. The Walking Dead game with Lee was because it was literally at the start.
Did you just want to fear them? Did you feel like fearing them?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know. That's just my own personal opinion. I always like it when I get more not more story, but more I don't know what the word is. Just I don't know. That's my shtick.
And back to DC.
Okay, so
I like your shtick.
A lot of stuff on TV in the future.
Does that sound like TV time is done?
It sounds like TV time is done.
TV
is there?
time.
Oh, there's an exit theme too.
Time.
Come on back to TV time with Roxy.
If you've watched our show before, you've seen me in that freaking epic Max Fleischer Superman shirt. And that's because that's going to be like Superman's costume. He's going to be rocking jeans and a Fleischer t-shirt. I don't know if he knows it's a Fleischer t-shirt in that world. But
kind of is.
So now it's come about that we know actually how Superman loses the costume. And you can actually see this and read all these panels. And it's really, really cool, like what happens. Apparently, Superman has undergone some kind of genetic mutation. He is losing his powers. He's still kind of tough, but I mean, he's like traipsing through the Arctic and he's freezing and he has to fight off all these ninjas or zombie ninjas or something. And then he basically okay, spoilers, we don't want to hear how Superman loses his costume. Just like turn it on right now. So are you really
I'm just kidding.
Okay. Like, you read the thing.
Yeah, I have.
So basically Fortress of Solitude says like organic scan, not a genetic match. I take it all away. Takes off the shield, takes the cape away, and he's like, but I'm still Superman.
It made me kind of sad though, as it's like flying to pieces, getting shredded.
Hey!
It's a great...
Yeah.
I guess my question is, I mean, look, we know if we read comics, they're always doing stuff like this. They're always doing fun things like this. Doesn't mean Superman... Obviously, he's going to get his cape back, and it's going to be an epic double splash page, freaking thing, and he's going to get all his powers back, and there'll be a new version of the newest new Superman costume. But in the meantime, do you think that this is something that they could play with in the movies? Do you ever see, like, a storyline like this in a solo Superman film, which seems like 50 years away from now, where we just didn't have to deal with a bigger world and a Justice League, and it's just like a Superman movie? Do you almost like a freaking like a red kryptonite kind of story, or Superman 2 where he's depowered for a while?
I feel like, my own personal opinion, I think it would be good to see. I really think so. But I don't know if the general public would like to see that. I feel like they're more into the whole world building kind of thing.
Right.
Because of that, I could more see this in something like a TV show or week to week.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's a plot line you almost have to mind. Like, Supergirl loses her powers for a couple of episodes because of it. And honestly, I seem to remember, like, the Superboy live-action show that I believe was on CBS, too, I want to say, back in the day, the Superboy show, which was great. Metallo on that show, that was an awesome show. I think they messed with, like, some of the fun, weird kryptonites on the show. That's the thing, is, like, DC has this really humorous side. When you go back to the 60s comics, and, like, there were all those continuities, which is, like, all the pre-crisis stuff, which sometimes Batman had white sideburns, and sometimes he had a gut, and there was Batmite there. It was like nothing took itself so seriously. And you had gold and blue and lavender and lace kryptonite. I mean, those are always fun stories to tell. I don't know that... You're right. In a movie, when you have to wait at this point like 7 years between Superman appearances on...
I don't know if we can
film.
spend time on that.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's cool. And then finally, you wanted to talk about one of your favorite performers.
I honestly didn't even know if this would make it onto the list of things we talked about today. It was just funny. I'm not going to say that much about it. Rihanna decided to dress up as Robin, and it's become a big deal, and they are not happy about it, and they do not want her name associated with the costume, the name Robin, or anything. If you guys are curious about the story, go check it out. That's about all.
Worth it for that picture alone.
Yeah, it's just funny. They're very protective over their characters, and I could understand why they don't want Rihanna coming out.
I'm more offended that someone tries to like trademark like a first name like that. That's so annoying. I don't want to live in a world where that can be done.
I can't.
Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that. Do we have any questions that we want to acknowledge from the people? We talked about that one question.
I do.
How much money?
Yeah, so that question is from Nathan, from @GregNathan says, what do you consider a success for BVS? Like how much money it makes and its audience response?
Okay, what do you think? What do we think? Want to go around here?
Are we talking opening weekend? Are we talking total?
I'm assuming basically total world gross. World domestic
International.
gross. International.
Okay.
Ooh, man, I can't even put
For them to
numbers together.
say like, hey, we've arrived, Marvel. Not like getting away. Not like to say like, what? Really like drawing the line in the sand, saying, hello, Marvel.
All right.
We are DC, we are Warner Brothers, we've been here for some time, and now you must respect us. What is that number?
All right. Movies are doing pretty well this year.
Yeah.
It depends on what they look like next year. I would love, this is not the minimum it has to make, but it's really what I think it could do. Internationally, I would love this to be in the $1 billion club.
Oh, a $1 billion.
Really?
Yeah, and I think it could.
Okay.
I think it could hit $1 billion. That's not what it would have to do to be successful.
Okay.
But I think it could. And
Alexis?
I don't think I would put it that high. I would probably put it close to that, though. Definitely still in the
Not
million.
what you think it's going to do, what you think it needs to do to be deemed very successful.
well,
then yeah, probably on the same level then
A
as
little
Roxy.
less. A
Yeah,
little
maybe
less.
a little less than that, but
Well,
I would
I've
say-
said the same thing, sort of. I'm saying it needs to do $1 billion
Yeah.
to really. Not to say that it's not going to make money if it makes $700 million, but like I think Amazing Spider-Man 2 made over $700 million worldwide, and it was enough of a fiasco that they're like, we need to start over on top of everything else that happened.
and
with
we
that.
know Avengers just made $1 billion.
With
and
all the hype, surrounding, and as these box offices keep going up and more billion-dollar movies, if Batman v Superman shows up next year and doesn't make $1 billion internationally, there will be people who say, and probably rightly so, that it could be considered a failure.
So C. Rivera says 1.2 billion. Joe John Verk says 1.5. Dallas Jackson says 900 million. So we're all in a similar ballpark.
Yeah. I think it's going to do more like 1.5. I think it's going to be big. I think it's going to be super, super big boy time.
Jasmine in the chat says 2 billion for sure.
It could.
I mean, it has the potential.
Look, I've talked about like the superhero bubble, like on this thing, like Batman v Superman, like depending on how it does, like it could be at the apex of this thing. If this film delivers, like if this film is good, who's not going to go see it? These are the two most recognizable characters on the planet. You see what Marvel has been able to do with secondary characters, and I respect it so much. But if you can finally putting Batman and Superman on the screen at the same time, this could be huge. That's why I say it must make at least $1 billion for it to be a smash. Because if not, they've missed a huge opportunity.
I don't know if we have time for one more question, but I also wanted to ask this for you guys since I haven't been on the panel. Would you rather go to?
Who's this from?
Oh, this is Matthew Picknett, which is Matthew_Picknett. I'm sorry if I said your last name wrong. Would you rather
It's your fault for not writing it properly.
Yep,
Matthew.
Would you rather go to an early screening of Batman vs. Superman or wait till opening night with a crowd? I would say opening night with a crowd just because I love getting the reactions.
I want to do both. I want to go to the early screening.
Hey, that wasn't the question. It wasn't whether you want to do both.
I mean, he didn't say you can't pick that. Don't listen.
That's you can't pick that.
If I could only do one, I would say opening night because I do love the crowd. But the early screening would be a really big crowd too, but it would be more a Hollywood crowd.
No, this is a crowd with 7 people, and one of them are Larry King.
Is that what he said? I missed that part of the question.
I have more information about the question. I read more into the question.
Yes, you were reading between the lines, and I clearly missed something.
So in that scenario, it's a small screening in Beverly Hills. Larry King is in attendance, 6 other people. There's free popcorn at the screening.
How about Sour Patch Kids? Because that's the game changer.
I'll give you Sour Patch Kids.
Ooh, I would still do an opening night.
I'm doing opening night.
Opening night. Yeah,
you're gonna sound real pretentious now if you're going with Larry King.
I'm gonna say I would like to say opening night with you because like I saw Mad Max last week and it was like seeing it with a movie that has applause in it. You forget how much fun that is. And Mad Max, there were several applause breaks. That having been said, if I get the call, do you want to go to an opening night screening or a week earlier, and I already have my opening night ticket purchased, I'm definitely going to the early screening. Now, I should also say, I am supposedly going to see it a week early because I went to that thing at the IMAX where we saw the trailer. You went too, right?
No.
Oh, no, this is just you saying, fango, you're back on it. But that screening will probably be a packed screening. It will be early.
Right.
So early and packed, definitely. If it's early and small, then it's much. And if it's like opening night and loud and the movie's great, oh God, what's better than that?
True.
Okay, do we have time for another question?
Do we? One more? One of us. Yes, we're getting the go ahead. One more.
Okay. This is coming from, and I'm going to ask this one. I'm going to ask this one in bang type voice. He's been asking for from Straight Snuggles, dropping hints of Green Lantern mythos. Do you think we could see him pop up in the near future on TV? That was my worst bang cat yet, but meow.
So you're saying was that about
do you think Green Lantern will pop up on TV? Because there was the hint of Flash and Arrow.
Diggle? Are you talking about the Diggle thing?
No. They made a Green Lantern reference this week.
Oh.
When they get to that, when Flash gets, or last week.
Coastal City reference?
No, in the planes, and he says that the reason that the airport had been shut down, it was a Green Lantern reference, right?
What do you mean? What Ferris Airport?
Because
like just
something had happened. Yeah, I don't remember specifically what they said, but something had happened.
I know that the Ferris name had been used.
And they said that why it had been shut down and they've been doing testing. Something.
Oh, so you're saying the reason the airport was shut down was related to something potentially Green Lantern-y.
Right.
Like there was maybe like a crash from outer space or something, and they were covering it up or something like that.
I don't think they specified. I can't remember.
Yeah, they were something. It was something along those lines.
It would be nice.
I have it written down.
I gotta say, man, I don't know. I mean, at some point, I'm really gonna think it's like if everybody is also on TV as well, it's like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel.
I mean,
about
I know
that.
that DC was trying to go that route to make sure everything was going
Does
to be
seem
on
weird.
TV.
And then who is, they referenced like Diggle's going to become someone too.
Yeah, that's what somebody was hoping that he was going to be.
But he's got it. They said it. I mean, they said you got to cover yourself up.
This is what the reference was. So they were at Ferris Air Force Base, which is where Hal Jordan works, and someone said it got shut down because a test pilot, Hal's job, went missing, presumably due to the events of receiving the Green Lantern Corpse ring.
There it is.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's super cool. That's almost like
There you
missing
go.
pilot. Yeah,
everybody's saying.
Also, I know Bane Cat got a little British tonight.
I like it.
What do you mean? He's always a little British. Like Mr. Wayne.
He's kissing your little box with his British self.
Yeah, he got very British.
Yes, that happened. Anyway.
Yeah, well, he definitely, in the movie Dark Knight Rises, he didn't sound like he was from, like, Isla Nublar, or wherever he was from. Or Isla Nublar, is that Jurassic Park or DC? I'm getting confused.
Yeah.
He was from some Cuban island or something like that. Definitely didn't sound Cuban or Latino at all. One more question?
I think we're...
Okay, they just want to ask us. This one's really quick. This is from David Perez says, are y'all going to watch BVS together?
No.
Question.
No.
No.
I have my own little DC crew that I usually go with to see DC stuff. But I would like to.
Excuse me. The answer is certainly yes, at some point.
Great.
At some point.
There you go. Well, I usually like to
Why are
do
you going to watch with us?
movie dates with Roxy.
Yeah.
Because I'm obviously going to
And
an
then,
early screening.
okay, I'm
No,
not saying for
kidding.
the first time. He's so rude.
I know.
Are you
Oh,
going
I'm
to take me to
kidding. I don't know.
McCormick?
No, I hope we do. I hope we all get to go to the same screening together. I really do.
Yeah, there's just so many more questions. We'll answer them next week, guys. I am
right.
looking at the chat. I swear,
Just
you guys are the
tweet
best.
us and we'll answer them.
Just tweet us. Again, I'm Adam Gertler at Adam Gertler.
I'm Roxy Striar at Roxy Striar.
And I'm Alexis Torres at atorres890 being complicated. That's what I do.
What, you've dropped
What's
10,
wrong?
you're done?
No, I'm good. We're good. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great week. I'm not sure if I'll be here next week, but somebody will. We'll have a show for you as we always do. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks,
and
guys, for
look forward to
having me.
on the webs.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.